Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a story that, honestly, it feels like it's ripped straight from a movie.
Right. Or maybe even like an alternative Lord of the Rings saga. It's got that kind of epic feel.
Exactly. It springs from the Reconquista, that huge, centuries-long conflict in
A
Iberia.
massive piece of history, yeah.
But we're zooming in on one person,
Hmm.
a young prince with this dream, this mission that seems totally impossible.
To revive a dynasty that was basically wiped out
Yep.
against all
It's
odds.
just incredible. So our mission today, what are we doing here?
Well, we're not just retelling the story. We're digging into the sources, pulling out the key insights, the really important stuff.
Giving you that shortcut to understanding this amazing historical episode.
Exactly. We want to get to the why and the how.
Hmm.
Not just what happened, but why it happened and how these events unfolded.
Because understanding that is crucial to grasping its impact, right?
Absolutely. It shapes so much of the medieval world and honestly still echoes today.
Okay, so to really get the stakes, we need to set the scene. Let's go back, way back, to around the 7th century. The world was, well, it was changing a lot.
Profoundly. You have the Roman Empire, this absolute giant for centuries.
The backdrop for, the birth of Jesus Christ even.
Right. But by this time, it's been in decline for a long, long time. The western part, pretty much gone, fragmented.
Fractured, yeah. Under pressure, internally, externally.
It had shrunk massively. Only the eastern part, Byzantium, was really holding on.
And they had their own issues, didn't they? This Roman bad habit, as our source puts it.
Yeah. Well, welcoming Christianity, which changed things internally,
Hmm.
and definitely struggling to keep various groups, the barbarians, Goths, Vandals, at bay.
Constant pressure, draining resources.
Exactly. It wasn't just skirmishes. These were major movements of people, sustained incursions that just wore the Western Empire down. Byzantium survived, but even they were locked in constant war, especially with Persia to the east.
So a world feeling exhausted, fragmented,
Yeah.
and into this kind of power vacuum.
Comes a new, incredibly dynamic force, Islam.
Centered around Prophet Muhammad, born in Mecca around 570 AD.
His life's work, essentially, was preaching this message, uniting the tribes of the Arabian Peninsula, a huge achievement.
Creating a single faith, a single political entity where before there were just, disparate groups.
Right. And when he passed away in 632 AD, that unity was tested, but the foundation was there. A new power was ready.
But his passing immediately raised a big question, didn't it? Succession.
The first major challenge, yeah. Who leads next? Leadership fell to 4 of his closest companions. They're known as the Rashidun Caliphs.
And caliph means what exactly?
Basically the successor, both spiritual and political leader of this new, growing Islamic community, the Caliphate.
Got it. And these Rashidun caliphs, they didn't waste any time.
Not at all. An absolutely astonishing period of expansion began. Just boom.
How fast are we talking?
Incredibly fast. In just a few decades, they pushed deep into the Eastern Roman Empire's territory. They completely dismantled the Persian Sasanian Empire, a huge power for centuries, and swept across North Africa.
Wow. Taking on 2 major empires at once and winning. That sounds almost unbelievable.
It does. But
Yeah.
there's a really crucial insight here, a key reason why they were so successful.
Okay, let's hear it. This is important.
It comes down to timing and exhaustion. Think about it.
Yeah.
The Persians and the Byzantines, these two giants, had been fighting each other for centuries.
Right, locked in this brutal struggle over disputed land, constantly draining each other.
Exactly, bleeding each other dry. Their money, their armies, their populations, all weakened, stretched thin,
So they were vulnerable.
massively vulnerable. Then suddenly these unified Arab armies arrive. They're fresh, highly motivated by their new faith, full of purpose.
And they walk into a situation where their main rivals are already exhausted from fighting each other.
Precisely. They weren't just fighting empires, they were fighting hollowed-out shells. It was strategic genius, or maybe just incredibly fortunate timing. They capitalized perfectly on that power vacuum. It's a pattern you see again and again in history.
A perfect storm for this new power. Incredible.
Yeah.
But even with this outward success, things weren't entirely stable internally, were they?
No, not at all. That succession issue you mentioned earlier, it didn't just go away.
Because Prophet Muhammad hadn't explicitly named who should follow him.
Correct. So you had multiple candidates, those respected companions, and the decisions made then sparked a fundamental split.
This is the origin of the Sunni-Shia divide.
Right, exactly. It started right there at the very beginning. The community chose Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman as caliphs. Ali came fourth.
Okay, so what was the disagreement?
Well, the group that became known as Shia, the courtesans of Ali, argued that Ali, as the Prophet's cousin and son-in-law, should have been first. They believed leadership should follow lineage.
Based on blood relation to the Prophet.
Right. Whereas the majority, who became the Sunnis, agreed with the order chosen by community consensus. They prioritized, piety, capability, the community's choice, over direct bloodline.
So a deep disagreement about the very nature of leadership.
Deeply theological, deeply political. And it created instability almost immediately.
And that instability, it turned violent, didn't it?
Yeah.
Especially during the time of the third caliph, Uthman.
Yes, things really escalated. There was growing discontent, accusations of favoritism, maybe corruption.
Simmering unrest.
Which boiled over horrifically. Rebels actually stormed Uthman's home in Medina while he was reading the Quran.
No, while reading the Quran.
Yes, and they killed him. Assassinated the caliph in his own home during a sacred act.
That must have sent shockwaves.
Unbelievable shockwaves. Across the entire empire, it shattered any sense of unity and ignited what's called the First Islamic Civil War, the Fitna.
A civil war right at the heart of this rapidly expanding empire.
Exactly. Ali then became the fourth caliph, inheriting this deeply fractured situation, an almost impossible task to mend those divisions.
And tragically, Ali himself. He didn't escape the violence either.
No, sadly not. After years of trying to hold things together amidst the civil war, he too was assassinated by a dissident group.
So 2 caliphs assassinated. The divisions must have been incredibly deep.
They were. And Ali's death kind of paved the way for a new power structure to emerge and consolidate.
This is where the Umayyads come in.
Yes. The head of the Umayyad family, Muawiyah, who was the governor of Syria, and a powerful figure, a devout Sunni, he stepped into that power vacuum.
Became the 5th caliph.
And established the Umayyad Caliphate. He moved the capital from Medina to Damascus, a major shift, and really began a new phase in Islamic history, a dynastic phase.
Okay, so the Umayyads are now in charge. And under them, the empire just keeps growing, right?
Exploding, really. It reached its maximum extent under the Umayyads. We're talking from the borders of India all the way through North Africa, across the strait into Spain, and pushing up towards the bottom of France.
That's mind-boggling. One of the largest empires the world had ever seen.
Absolutely vast. And on the surface, administratively, militarily, it looked like a truly marvelous achievement.
But there was a catch, a big one.
A huge one, yes. It was marvelous if you were part of the Arab elite.
So not so great for everyone else.
Definitely not. There was a critical flaw in how they ran things internally. Their policies created a lot of resentment among non-Arab populations.
Like who? Who is feeling this unfair treatment?
Well, a major group were the Mawali. These were non-Arab converts to Islam. Persians, Berbers, others.
They'd converted, embraced the faith.
Yes, but they were often treated like second-class citizens. In many cases, they still had to pay the jizya, that poll tax meant for non-Muslims.
Wait, even after converting?
Yes. Which, as you can imagine, felt deeply unfair and bred serious resentment. Then you had the established Christian and Jewish communities, the people of the book. They had protections, sure, but still faced discriminatory laws, extra taxes.
So layers of inequality.
Blatantly unfair treatment across huge swaths of the empire's diverse population.
And these weren't small groups we're talking about?
Not at all. Think about Persia, a huge, sophisticated civilization now under Arab rule. Many Persians felt particularly aggrieved.
And they had a connection to Ali, didn't they?
Strong affinity, yes. Many in the eastern provinces, including Persians, tended towards the Shia view, believing Ali and his descendants were the rightful leaders.
So you have this potent mix. Unfair treatment, discriminatory taxes.
Plus these deep religious differences, plus the lingering resentment over Ali's fate and the Umayyad seizing power.
It sounds like a recipe for rebellion.
Exactly. These different groups, Persians, disgruntled Mawali, Shia sympathizers, they started to connect, to unite, quietly at first.
Forming an opposite movement, as the source calls it.
Yeah, a clandestine network, building strength, especially in the eastern provinces like Khorasan, waiting. Ready for a revolution, a bloody one.
A powder keg just waiting for a spark.
Precisely.
And that spark eventually came. The Umayyad Caliph at the time, Marwan II, he must have sensed it coming.
Oh, absolutely. Marwan II was a seasoned military guy. He could feel the ground shifting, the growing strength of this Abbasid movement named after an uncle of the Prophet, Abbas, giving them a claim to legitimacy.
So he knew a showdown was inevitable.
He rallied his troops, marched east from Syria to confront them head-on, ready for a massive battle.
But the Abbasids, They weren't just any army.
No. What's striking in the accounts is the difference in motivation. The sources say the Umayyad soldiers were no match.
Why not? The Umayyads had a professional army, didn't they?
They did. But the Abbasids were fueled by something else. This strong passion for justice, as one source puts it. Justice for everyone in the empire.
Tapping into all that resentment we talked about.
Exactly. All those grievances under Umayyad rule had boiled over, creating this incredibly dedicated, fervent force. It wasn't just about land, it was ideological. A revolution for a fairer Islamic state, as they saw it.
So passion versus professionalism, almost.
In a way, yeah. And passion won. The battle was decisive. Swift, brutal defeat for the Umayyads.
And Caliph Marwan II.
Killed. Along with almost all his soldiers, it was the effective end of the Umayyad Caliphate's dominance. A violent, sudden collapse.
Wow. Just like that. But the Abbasids, victory wasn't enough, was it?
Not even close. They'd won the war, taken down the leadership, but their idea of justice went much further.
What do they mean by justice now?
Eradicating the threat. Completely. They were determined that no Umayyad would ever challenge them again.
So not just defeating the army?
But targeting the entire family, every single member. They wanted to ensure the Umayyad dynasty was finished. Permanently.
It sounds ruthless.
Utterly ruthless. This is where you see the dark side of revolutions, right? Consolidating power often involves brutal measures.
And the sources describe this as pretty systematic.
Chillingly so. One source even makes a pop culture comparison, though obviously centuries apart. It says, remember that scene from Star Wars where they issued Order 66?
Order 66, wow, okay, that paints a picture.
It does. It suggests that this wasn't random violence, it was coordinated. Rogue Abbasid agents fanning out across the entire caliphate.
Hunting people down.
Hunting down and killing every single member, servant, and loyalist of the Umayyad family. Anyone connected. A complete purge.
That's horrifying. And as the main Abbasid army got closer to Damascus, the Umayyad capital,
The killing intensified within the city itself. Imagine the scene. The victorious army approaching, and inside the walls, unrest, chaos, and this targeted slaughter of Umayyads is already in full swing.
the capital itself descending into bloodshed.
Total chaos. The heart of Umayyad power now a death trap for anyone associated with them.
And it's right here in the middle of this absolute terror, this citywide, empire-wide hunt that we meet our prince.
Exactly. Prince al-Rahman.
Full name, Emir Abd al-Rahman ibn Muawiyah ibn Hashim. Quite a mouthful.
Ah, yes. Emir is prince, Abd al-Rahman, servant of God, then son of his father Muawiyah, son of his grandfather Hashim. We'll stick with Abd al-Rahman.
Okay, so how old was he? What was his situation?
He was young, just 20. And importantly, he wasn't, like, first in line for the throne or anything. His branch of the family was a bit removed.
But that didn't matter to the Abbasids.
Not one bit. Their order was clear. Every Umayyad. He was a target simply because of his bloodline.
And the threat was immediate. Assassins closing in.
You could almost hear it, right? Swords clashing down the hallways, screams in the street. He knew instantly fighting was suicide.
Guards running out.
He had to run. Now, escape the slaughter.
So, okay, he decides to flee. First big question, where do you even go?
Right. His older brother Yahya was with him. Yahya suggested heading west, towards Palestine.
Seems logical. Put distance between them and Damascus and the main Abbasid force.
Logical on the surface. But then you have this other figure, Bedr.
Better. Who was he?
A freed slave, but described as a very close, loyal confidant of the prince. And Bedr immediately saw the problem with Yahya's idea.
What was the flaw?
Major roads, big cities. They'd be crawling with Abbasid agents, checkpoints, sympathizers, walking right into the lion's den.
Okay, makes sense. So what did Bedr suggest?
Something riskier, but smarter. Follow the Euphrates River, stay off the main routes, maybe find shelter or support in less obvious places.
A more hidden path.
Exactly. And credit to Abd al-Rahman, this young prince, he listened. He saw the wisdom in Bedr's advice, even though Bedr wasn't nobility. He agreed.
That says something about him, doesn't it? Willing to listen to practical advice.
It really does. A sign of pragmatism, maybe, even at that desperate moment.
Okay, so they have a direction, but how do they get out of Damascus? The city's in chaos, people are being hunted.
And crucially, Abd al-Rahman wasn't alone. He had his little boy, just 4 years old, and his sisters with him.
Oh, wow. He couldn't just run himself.
No way. He wouldn't dare to think about leaving them. So how do you sneak a royal family, even a small one, out of a city under lockdown and purge?
Seems impossible.
This is where Bedr's experience, his simpler lifestyle knowledge, was invaluable again.
What was his plan?
Disguises. Simple, effective. He told them, Ditch the royal clothes, the fancy weapons, cover your faces, grab only what's essential, look like ordinary merchants trying to get out of the chaos.
Blend in. Shed the identity that makes them a target.
Completely. A total transformation forced by survival, from prince to fugitive merchant in an instant.
It must have been terrifying.
Imagine. They agreed, slipped out a back door into those nightmare streets. The sources paint a grim picture. Bodies everywhere, unnecessary bloodshed tainting the streets.
Just horror.
But somehow, with Better's plan, disguised, keeping their heads down, they managed it. They slipped out of Damascus.
Out of the immediate grasp of the Abbasids. For now.
For now. A small victory, but the journey was just beginning.
So they're out of Damascus. But the world outside has changed too, right?
Completely. The Abbasids weren't just in Damascus, they were taking over everything. The Umayyad Caliphate was officially renamed the Abbasid Caliphate.
And the provinces. Even far-off ones like Spain and Morocco.
They complied. Whether through fear or genuine allegiance, the Western provinces acknowledged the new regime. There was nowhere to run where the old name held sway anymore.
So for al-Rahman's group, the reality sinks in. There's no going back.
No more luxury, no safety net, just constant flight, constant danger. Every town could hold an enemy.
And here's something truly chilling the sources reveal. They didn't even know it at the time, did they?
No. It's heartbreaking. They were effectively the last ones, the last surviving Umayyad bloodline in the entire caliphate.
Everyone else.
Hunted down, murdered in that systematic purge. Brothers, uncles, cousins, nephews, gone.
God, imagine carrying that weight, even unknowingly, the fate of an entire dynasty resting on this small, fleeing group.
It had such immense pressure to their already desperate situation. And the journey was grueling. Exhausted, traumatized, they finally reach a small village late one day.
Seeking refuge.
Just needing to rest. Some townsfolk seemed sympathetic, offered them tents. Maybe a moment of peace, finally.
A chance to sleep after, after everything.
For a few hours, yes. They could finally close their eyes. But that peace was shattered.
Don't tell me.
My Lord, they found us. That cry in the night, an ambush. The Abbasid hunters were relentless.
No! How did they find them?
We don't know for sure. Maybe an informant, maybe just relentless tracking. But they were there.
And the group, what could they do?
They faced an agonizing choice. The kind of choice that breaks you. al-Rahman, Yahya, and Berdane. And they realized they had to draw the attackers away.
To save the others, his son, his sisters.
That must have been the desperate hope. They, the main targets, perhaps had to flee again, leaving the family hidden, praying they wouldn't be found.
Oh, that's horrific. Did it work?
The sources are grimly clear. It didn't. Each one of the left-behind family members got killed that night.
No. So his 4-year-old son, his sisters.
Slaughtered. By the Abbasid hunters. al-Rahman lost almost everyone in one night. His brother Yahya and Better were all he had left.
I can't even imagine that level of loss. Just devastating.
It's almost unbearable to think about. And, this is where you might just think, these Abbasids are monsters.
Well, yeah, from al-Rahman's perspective, absolutely. Pure brutality.
Totally. Ruthless doesn't even begin to cover it. But it's important, as historians try to do, to add that bit of nuance the sources also hint at.
Okay. What's the other side of this?
Well, for many other people in the empire, the Persians, the Mawali, those who felt oppressed by the Umayyads, the Abbasids, weren't necessarily seen as purely evil. In fact,
yes,
the period that followed under Abbasid rule is often called the Islamic Golden Age.
The Golden Age, with all the science, philosophy, culture.
Exactly. A massive flourishing of knowledge, art, trade, preserving ancient texts, making huge advancements. Baghdad became this incredible center of learning.
So the brutality of their rise led to stability and progress for many others.
It seems so. It's a complex picture. Their rise was undeniably bloody and tragic for the Umayyads, but it ushered in a different era for the wider Islamic world. It raises that tough question about ends and means, doesn't it?
It really does. History is rarely black and white. But, okay, back to our survivors. al-Rahmani, Yahya, Better, 3 remain. What now?
The situation is getting worse. Abbasid power is consolidating everywhere. Their armies are fanning out, mopping up any resistance. There's no safe place left in the lands they know.
Couldn't they have tried? Maybe the Byzantine Empire just get out of the caliphate entirely.
Good question, but think about the history. The Arabs, including the Umayyads, had conquered half of the Byzantine territory decades earlier.
Ah, right. Bad blood there. Lots of it.
Exactly. The Byzantines weren't likely to forget that. They wouldn't offer refuge to an Umayyad prince. They'd probably see him as just another Arab enemy. So no help there.
Doors closing everywhere. Cornered.
Completely cornered. The hunters are still after them. They make a desperate dash for a river. Maybe they can cross, escape pursuit that way.
The hunters were probably on horseback, right? Maybe couldn't cross easily.
That seems to be the idea. The Abbasids in heavy gear, armor, in no shape for crossing a river quickly, especially if the current's strong.
So they plunge in.
All three of them. Now, accounts say al-Rahman was athletic, a good swimmer. Better was fit, strong from his past life.
But Yahya.
Yahya struggled. The sources say he was more air than swim. The current was strong, pulling at him. He was falling behind.
Oh, no. And the hunters are watching from the bank.
Watching, yes. And then they do something incredibly cruel. They call out.
What do they say?
If you come back, we promise we won't kill you. A blatant lie, a trick.
Trying to lure him back because he's struggling? That's vile.
Absolutely vile. And al-Rahman is screaming at him, right? Brother, don't listen. They killed our family last night. You can't trust them.
But Yahya, he must have been exhausted, terrified.
Panicked, maybe desperate for any hope. He hesitated. You could almost picture the indecision on his face. Then he turned back.
No, he believed them.
He swam back towards the hunters, towards that false promise of safety.
What happened?
They killed him, right there, pulled him out, murdered him in cold blood, right in front of al-Rahman.
Oh my God, his last brother, killed right before his eyes because of a cruel trick.
Devastating. Another immense loss, another betrayal. Al-Rahman must have been completely shattered.
How did he even keep going?
It seems it was better again. This incredibly loyal companion. He physically pulled al-Rahman away from the bank, away from watching his brother die.
Dragged him out of the water.
Got him moving. The source says they ran like their lives depended on it, which it did. Just ran and ran.
Until there was nowhere left to run.
Literally. Till there was no more land to run on. They must have reached the coast somewhere, or just collapsed from exhaustion and grief. Just two men left. The last of the Umayyads.
This is rock bottom. Absolutely rock bottom. How do you even process that?
It's almost impossible to fathom. You can imagine al-Rahman's despair. The sources capture this feeling like he's saying, I'm the last one, everyone is dead, what do I do? Better give up. Hide.
The weight of it all, his family, his dynasty.
Yeah.
Gone.
And the loss of his son. What would my son say if he saw me surrender? That line speaks volumes. He's grappling with grief, responsibility, the future, or the lack of one.
But he doesn't completely break, does he? Something shifts.
This is where his resilience is just astounding. He acknowledges the pain, the urge to just collapse. As much as I want to cry and weep in a hole, which believe me, I really do.
You feel the raw honesty there.
I still can't. Not until we have delivered justice. Justice is not just survival now, it's purpose, retribution, restoration.
He's channeling that grief into something else, something bigger.
Exactly. Transcending personal suffering, embracing the sense of destiny maybe, a mission for his entire lost family.
And this leads to the plan, the audacious plan.
He asks better for the map. This simple tool becomes key, and he starts thinking historically, strategically.
Connecting back to his own family's past.
Yes. He remembers his great-grandfather, Caliph al-Walid III. About 40 years earlier, al-Walid had led the Umayyad conquest of Al-Andalus.
Modern Spain and Portugal, they conquered almost all of it.
Right. So the Umayyads had a history there, infrastructure, maybe even some lingering loyalties, despite the Abbasid takeover.
Okay, so Al-Andalus becomes the focus. Why there specifically?
It's not just the history. Rahman has heard something crucial, a piece of intelligence.
What's that?
The governor currently in charge there, Yusuf al-Fihri. He wasn't exactly a loyal Umayyad puppet even before the Abbasids. He had been trying to carve out his own power base, acting independently from Damascus.
So if he defied the Umayyads...
Ablama reasons. It's very likely he also won't give in to the Abbasids. He won't just roll over for the new caliphate either.
So Al-Andalus isn't a safe haven, it's unstable, a place ripe for disruption.
Exactly. It's politically fractured. The governor's looking out for himself. This creates an opening, a potential foothold for a deposed prince with a claim, however tenuous. It's a massive gamble, but it's something.
A place to land, maybe rally support against both the governor and the Abbasids far away.
That's the kernel of the idea. And from this desperate gamble comes this absolutely grand vision.
He actually says it, doesn't he? The mission.
He declares it. We cross through Africa, rally up an army, defeat the governor, and conquer back our empire that the Abbasids have taken from us.
Wow. From fugitive with one companion to reconquering an empire, that's...
It's almost unbelievable audacity. From personal survival to dynastic reclamation on an epic scale.
It sounds completely mad given their situation.
It does, and they know the dangers. The sources are clear. It will be a long and treacherous journey.
What are the immediate threats, besides just everything?
Well, the Abbasid hunters are still out there. That Mr. Scarface figure may be a specific commander known for his relentlessness. They won't stop easily. They have to get out of Abbasid reach first.
Which means crossing North Africa.
Exactly. And that means encountering numerous Berber tribes. Some might be hostile, some opportunistic. It's not going to be a friendly walk. Anything but friendly, as the source warns.
So danger from the Abbasids behind them, danger from local tribes ahead of them. It really is a suicide mission.
It feels like it. The odds are astronomically stacked against them.
But then there's that moment, that loyalty moment. It kind of solidifies the epic feel.
It really does. al-Rahman, realizing the sheer insanity of what he's proposing, turns to better.
And gives him an out.
Yes. He says essentially, look, we freed you, your debt is paid, more than paid. This is crazy dangerous. If you want to leave, I get it. Go.
Offering him freedom, truly, from this insane quest.
And Better's reply. It's become iconic, hasn't it? Even referenced in our sources with that almost mythical quote.
I will never leave you, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah. It captures that absolute, unwavering loyalty. And al-Rahman's response, thanks, Sam. It just cements their bond.
It elevates it beyond just prince and servant. It's companions on an impossible quest.
Exactly. Facing overwhelming darkness together, bound by trust and this shared, desperate purpose, that loyalty is maybe the one solid thing they have left.
And that sets the stage. The last Umayyad prince stripped bare, his family murdered, standing with his one loyal friend.
Choosing not to hide, not to surrender, but to fight back, to reclaim everything.
He decides, okay, let's rest tonight. Because tomorrow
we start our quest to defeat the governor and declare war on the Abbasid Empire.
What an incredible turning point. The end of the escape, the beginning of the quest. Just, wow.
It really is an astonishing story. And thinking about it, this journey from that palace in Damascus to this desperate decision on some unknown shore, it offers so much, doesn't it?
Huge takeaways. The resilience, first off. How do you endure that kind of loss and keep going, let alone aim so high?
The sheer power of the human spirit, maybe.
Yeah.
And it shows how these huge historical shifts, like empires falling, civil wars, they crash down on individual lives.
Forcing people to adapt, to find new purpose, or be destroyed.
Right. And think about those small moments, those decisions. Better's advice about the river route, not the main roads.
Yaya's tragic choice at the river. Turning back.
Tiny hinges on which huge futures turn. It shows how individual choices, even desperate ones, can echo through history.
It really makes you think about the audacity of it all. al-Rahman had lost everything. His family, his status, his home.
Everything. And yet, he chooses not just survival, but this grand, almost impossible mission of rebirth for his whole dynasty.
What drives that? Is it duty, revenge, pure desperation, an unshakable belief in himself?
Maybe a combination of all of it, transforming that immense personal tragedy into this epic undertaking. It's profound.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe for us listening to this, when we face our own challenges, our own moments where things seem lost.
When our own, personal empires feel like they're crumbling.
What impossible missions might actually be waiting for us if we could just look past the despair, find that resolve, maybe trust in the loyalty of those around us? What could we achieve?
That's a powerful thought to end on. Because maybe the greatest courage isn't always about seeing a clear path to victory.
Maybe sometimes it's just about the refusal to surrender.
Exactly. The refusal to give up even when hope seems gone and the future's completely unknown.
Well, on that incredibly powerful note, we'll leave you to ponder that. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been fascinating.
Until next time.